What's up, guys? What's up, YouTube? We are here, and today we are gonna watch
and
10.
Me.
I know. Today I'm here at Godzilla Black, aka Airy Black. Today we're gonna be watching 10 wild animals that escaped from the zoo.
You mean
Let's get on with it. That's what I said.
What? No, loud.
Shut up.
A visit to the zoo is always a great option for a fun family activity. After all, that's the perfect spot to spend some time surrounded by nature, especially if you live in a crowded city and you want to see some animals in the wild. And I know some people today are against the idea of zoos and they believe animals should always be free. But we have to remember that there are bad people out there who are likely to harm them in the wild. And zoos are trying their very best at preserving some species and give them the quality of life that they deserve. However, there are some animals out there that succeeded in breaking free from the man-made environments and managed to escape the zoo.
Oh my god!
Today we're going to be looking at 10 of those wild animals that escaped from their zoos. Their escapes with their communities in panic mode as everyone around was afraid to run into one of these.
That's boring.
Number 10. Rusty the Red Panda. Red pandas are cute and seemingly harmless, yet it was quite scary to see that Rusty the Red Panda from the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. had escaped. Being such a small creature, the possible dangers of the big city were endless, and the zookeepers just wanted to make sure that their red panda was safe. The zoo authorities took their worries to Twitter as soon as they saw their little friend wasn't at his normal spot. The initial post read, "A missing red panda, a male named Rusty. He was last seen at 6 p.m. last night." Through their account, the zookeepers kept their neighborhood up to date on the search for the red panda. Everyone in D.C. kept their eyes open, looking for Rusty. Finally, one of the residents spotted a red panda wandering around a residential area. Given that red pandas are not native to D.C., the chances of it being Rusty were pretty high. And, of course, it was him. In less than an hour, animal control experts came over to the area and put Rusty in a crate to bring him back to the zoo. Number 9.
Guys.
The Humboldt Penguin.
Humboldt Penguin?
The next animal on this
How
list spent 82 days on the loose. It was in fact a Humboldt penguin at the Tokyo Sea Life Park, and it wasn't until someone sent a picture of the penguin that the zookeepers realized they were missing one of the 135 penguins they have at their exhibit. Somehow the little penguin managed to climb a rock and make his way to the Tokyo Bay. He then jumped in a river, and that's where the director of another zoo spotted him and alerted the penguin's keepers. However, the authorities encouraged locals to stay away from trying to save the penguin and let the experts handle the situation. The zookeepers decided to wait for the bird to come back to shore and catch him in his sleep, but it took them more than 2 months to finally accomplish that.
What?
Japanese zookeepers are very patient. I wouldn't be able to wait that long, but I'm sure the penguin enjoyed his time in the waters that run through the big city. Number 8.
Great, guys.
The Bronx Zoo Cobra.
Oh my god.
To know there's a big wild animal roaming through the streets of your city, or to know there's a sneaky and potentially venomous small animal making its way through your neighborhood. I don't know about you, but I would prefer a big animal because at least you can see those quite easily. It's very different when it comes to a snake, and that's exactly what happened in the Bronx. The whole city of New York went into panic mode when the Bronx Zoo reported that one of their cobras was missing from their reptile exhibit. Someone even made a Twitter account called @BronxZooCobra to make fun of the situation and turn the missing reptile into a celebrity, getting more than 200,000 followers in the midst of the search. After 6 days of searching, the zookeepers finally found the shy cobra in a corner of the reptile exhibit, a few meters away from the enclosure that she had escaped from. Reptile experts took the opportunity to teach people that snakes are as scared of humans just the same way humans are scared of them. If the cobra has to decide whether to fight or flight, she would definitely choose flight if she can. Number 7. Cyril the Sea Lion. Back in 1958, a sea lion named Cyril managed to escape his home at the Storybook Garden Zoo in Ontario, Canada. The brave sea lion swam through Lake Erie and made it through international boundaries until he was finally found around a boathouse in Ohio. Cyril was then taken to the Toledo Zoo, but was sent back to Canada a few weeks after that. However, the people at Toledo Zoo could have kept Cyril if they wanted to. Apparently, there was a case in the late 1800s that was similar in which a sea lion escaped and swam across international borders. And the New York Supreme Court ruled that wild animals which escape from their owners are no longer the property of their former owners. 9 years after the incident when Cyril passed away, the authorities of Ontario made a statue in honor of this famous sea lion. They also invited people from the Toledo Zoo to attend the unveiling ceremony. Zoo officials of Toledo and Ontario built and maintained friendships due to Cyril's epic swim. would have thought that a sea lion could
What
make
if
such
they
an
named him
impact
the
by
sea lion
swimming
from
across international
Madagascar?
borders?
Oh,
Number 6.
I don't know.
Ken the orangutan.
Oh my
Beloved
gosh.
ape 29
No.
was a known escape artist.
No.
Written in Ken
No.
famous orangutan.
No. Not an orangutan. King
Born in
Louis?
1971, this ape was
Oh,
famous,
That's a baby orangutan.
especially in the mid-80s.
They
The
get
most
a free
surprising
roam?
thing about it was that Ken would
Hold on,
escape
it
his
doesn't matter
enclosure
if
just to
kangaroo
stroll around the
escapes
San
because
Diego
they get a
Zoo
free
and look at
roam.
other animals.
Remember?
Oh yeah.
He was never aggressive towards visitors or
yeah.
zookeepers,
I
and he knew
wasn't
that
there,
sooner or
though.
later they
I was
would
like,
come for him and bring him back to his
Orangutan's got free
enclosure. It was as if he was challenging himself to find new ways to escape. After multiple escapes, the zoo authorities began to watch him closely in order to figure out how Ken
when I
managed to
saw
climb out
King
of
Louis
his
on the new
enclosure.
Jungle Book movie, I
But
was so
Ken knew he
scared.
was being watched, so he wouldn't do anything in front of them.
Yes.
The
it's
zoo
scary.
finally hired rock climbers
looks
and
like
invested
that
$40,000 to
looks
identify
fatter.
Ken's escape
like the
routes and keep him from
cartoon one
escaping in the
better.
future.
It was fun.
Yeah,
It's
he looks
actually a
like
good
that.
thing that they did that because other orangutans had already started to follow Ken's lead and were escaping as well. Number 5. Virginia the wolf.
Oh
If you have dogs
no.
and cats, you know that out of these two, cats are the ones most likely to get lost and escape your house
Why were
whenever they feel
puppies
like
in
it.
a zoo?
However, dogs are a bit trickier. Dogs generally just stay by you and they will run away only when they see any open doors or windows. Or, a cat. For that reason, it was quite shocking to
dogs
see Virginia the
actually
wolf to escape her enclosure at the LA
That's
Zoo back in the late
cats.
70s. Just like dogs, wolves are not expected
just
to
saw
climb
two
trees or
wolves.
fences. But Virginia managed to do it quite a few times.
What?
She even avoided veterinarians and zookeeper visits
That's a
thanks to her
werewolf.
acquired skills. And funny enough, even tranquilizer guns had no effect on her.
Wolves.
Virginia wanted to live in the wild and she managed to do it.
That's a pack.
At some point, one of the zookeepers joked by saying that Los Angeles was
Those
home
are
to the largest wolf exhibit, referring to Griffith Park, the nearby area in which they lost track of Virginia. Up until today,
That's
we
a
don't
whole
know
pack.
if Virginia was ever
Whoa.
recaptured. Whether it was inside or out of the zoo,
No.
I just hope she lived a happy and pleasant life. And
pack.
hopefully didn't hurt anybody at that point. Number 4.
Alright, guys, what was that?
Evelyn and Jim, the LA Gorillas.
No,
No.
I don't care about gorillas.
Jim Hirsch.
I don't really like gorillas. They're kind of like us, so it doesn't really matter.
Arrested because these were the only
They
other
relate to us.
Tatiana the tiger.
Guys,
The next story
for
on
the
this
record,
list has an unfortunate tragic
cats
end.
and
This
dogs
is the story
and
of
stuff are starting
Tatiana
to talk.
and 3 guys who
I
visited the
watched the
San
video.
Francisco Zoo
A
back
cat,
in 2007.
It smelled a lemon.
It all
It was
happened
like,
after closing hours when Tatiana escaped from her enclosure and attacked 3
Animals are
visitors,
starting
including a
to talk.
17-year-old who died in the tragic event. The other two, a
died.
19-year-old and a 21-year-old, got severely injured and ran to the zoo's cafe, which of course was already closed. An employee at the cafe did hear them scream, but he thought it was a mentally ill person. Once help was on the way, it still got delayed because the security guards locked the entrances to prevent Tatiana from
What
escaping
the-
out of the zoo's premises. At the end, armed officials came to rescue the victims and shot Tatiana to prevent her from further attacks.
why did they shoot the tiger?
The 2 survivors spent 4 days in the hospital,
I'm
and the
gonna
whole
kill
event
them.
resulted in improvements at the tiger's enclosure. Some people blame
Why
the zoo
would
for
they
what
shoot
happened to
a
the humans,
tiger?
while others blame it on the irresponsible visitors who were under the influences
Murderers.
of substances. According to the Association of Zoos and
They could've
Aquariums, this was the
tranquilized
first time
her.
that a visitor was killed by an
Exactly.
escaped animal.
And they're just
It is hard to figure out what really happened
In a
on that
zoo.
day, but one thing is for sure. Both the human and the tiger deserve to live longer. Let's hope this sort of chaos doesn't happen again. Now it's time for the day's best pick. The picture I have today is one of a very big animal roaming through the city streets.
Oh my
Have you heard that
gosh.
story?
Oh, I know.
What happens when people see huge wild animals on the streets, though? Number 2. The Rhino in Acadiana Zoo.
Acadiana?
Back in 1996, a white rhino escaped her enclosure, crossed a highway, and even threatened a group of veterinarians who tried
Why'd
to
you
use
say
tranks
wait?
on her. The rhino was relatively new to the Acadiana Zoo, a private zoo
Oh
in
my
Broussard,
gosh,
Louisiana.
there it is.
She was able to break through a pipe fence.
At Go-Go Squeeze, we know life
No. We'll see you after
but
this
with
ad.
imagination.
Rhino.
By the way, we
A little
saw a
after that,
wolf
someone
in that
spotted her
ad.
crossing the U.S. Highway 90 around 4 in the morning.
Wait, what?
A group of veterinarians came to meet her right after
Somebody's
sunrise in an
recording.
effort to put her under the influence of tranks, but the rhino charged and threatened to hurt them.
What?
The vets were able to run and hide in some
gosh,
trees,
I
but one of them
died.
couldn't move that fast. However, he was holding a rifle, and that's the weapon he used to solve the
He was
threat.
holding a rifle.
Taking care of wild animals requires a lot of responsibility, and some places are obviously not ready for such a task.
That's illegal. You can't shoot a
I have a
rhino.
quick challenge.
Or any animal. So the guy who killed the
Next 5
tiger.
seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing
Oh,
love.
they're going to
Try
jail.
it. It really works.
Number 1.
Right. Last but not
3
least.
escapes in one day.
Oh, hippo.
And
The
to close
most
this
dangerous
list, I'll
one
give you
is
not
zoo.
1, not 2, but 3 animal
Those are
escapes.
alligators
They
in
all
the
happen
street.
within the same day.
Come on, guys.
Back
Just
over.
see that? Sneak peek.
3 escapes in
Look,
one day.
in the water.
And to
on the
close
street.
this
Y'all
list,
see
I'll
that?
give you not 1,
That's
not
an
2,
alligator.
but
Is this
3 animal
claw
escapes.
now? Or is
They
that
all
a
happen within the
crocodile?
same day.
Wait.
Back over in 1964,
A hippo
an
escaping in 3
Bruh.
days.
Haker Zoo got a call
Is that a
regarding
bison?
13 buffalo that the police captured after
bison.
escaping the zoo. The zookeeper wasn't even aware of the escape, but that was just the beginning of a very long day of animal escapes. 5 hours later, he got another call. This time it was regarding a 300-pound pygmy hippo that was going for a stroll down a street nearby. And finally, to end such an eventful day, Nagati left the zoo and had to be chased before being brought back to his home. This series of escape made the zoo authorities check their security system, and I actually would have been concerned if I was them.
Alright, guys.
Those are all the animal escapes I have for today.
That's,
What did you think of them? Let us know in the comment section below.